favorite day as an AmeriCorp member in Tenacity, there's a lot, but what comes to mind is when we were doing book clubs and one of our sixth graders said, "This hunt makes learning fun," and that was just a really special moment, and I was like, "No, you guys are what makes it fun." So that was a really good day.
My favorite day as an AmeriCorp Fellow has to be teaching electives. I love being able to pick a topic that I'm familiar with and teaching it to the students. I had the opportunity to teach a group of students all about cheering, and that made me so happy to see how much they found love in learning about the sport that I love.
My favorite day as an AmeriCorp in Tenacity was probably our first day back in person. It was just so great to finally get to meet everybody and get to play with them in the gym and get to be in the classroom. They were all great days, but that was my favorite.
One of my favorite days in Tenacity was the day I went to recess when I was in person at the McCormick. It was just so nice to see so many kids in person after being online so long. Just to feel all the energy was really amazing.
My favorite day was probably the very first day of class, seeing everybody log on to Zoom for the very first time and getting really excited about this year. And then again on the first day with Module 2, because it was like the first day of school pretty much all over again, which is so fun.
What I'm most proud of is I did an elective on climate change, and one of my students in that elective had emailed me like a week after we had finished saying that I had inspired her to get more involved in climate change. And it meant a lot to me.
What I'm most proud of from this year is all the presentations that my kids did for electives and for book club. It was really great watching them take something I taught them and put it into a presentation that showed what they learned. So that's been really amazing all year long.
I'm really proud of the bonds that I've created this year. Even virtually, I made an impact on the students' lives, and I even helped bring up a specific student's grades from F's to B's.
One of my proudest moments was doing a science experiment with a student on Zoom. She turned on her camera and we did the experiment together. We were mixing different kinds of liquids together to see what mixed and what didn't. So just to see how amazing it was for her to be able to ask critical questions and make a hypothesis and show me what hers looked like, and then think about maybe what things she could have done to make it better. It was super cool to see that you can still do really neat science experiments on Zoom.
I'm honestly most proud of the electives this year. Personally, I think I made some great little presentations and chose some cool topics, but more importantly, I'm very proud of the amazing final projects that all my students made. So every single student made a project and basically taught the class about our topic. It made it very, very unique to themselves, and it was so cool to see that.
The moment that I struggled with the most this past year was when I was doing some online teaching, and you're just talking to these black boxes on a screen with names on them, and you feel like no one's behind them, and you're just talking to no one, and I really wanted to give up, and my site director told me this matters to these kids, whether they're paying attention or it seems like they're paying attention or not. They're listening, and they're gonna remember what we're trying to teach them, and to take all the little wins. So
something I struggled with was when we began to go back in person. We had to teach electives to people who were in person and people who were online. And it was just hard when you really want to talk to the person who's in front of you and can tell if they're engaged, but then you also have these people online who you need to keep interested and involved in the conversation, but it's a little bit trickier. So the way I persevered was to put into perspective and be this is a challenge we need to work with now in COVID and asking clear questions and making sure that I gave attention to people who were online to make sure they were still there, and figuring out what they were curious and interested in doing within the class was good.
Some of the moments I struggled were just when we were doing virtual learning. There's nothing in particular, but I think just this other student, the students who would just have some bad days, we would all as a group just have some tough days and just trying to get through that. But I think we all did, and now that we're back in person, it was definitely worth it.
I sometimes struggled with staying motivated during fitness. It could be just a struggle because it was tough for me, but other times it was just sometimes just kind of a few people on camera, and that wasn't very self-motivating. But I persevered by thinking about how some of the students were not on camera, but just still doing the exercises, and that helped keep me motivated as well to always push through and do these sometimes very long workout videos.
My favorite Tenacity event this year was a Roblox field trip that someone from our site and another site put together. So 2 of the middle school sites online, Zoom, got everybody together and played Roblox games, and it was really great to have that fun time with the kids, got to know them a little bit more. We had just gotten a new student, and that kind of gave me an opportunity to connect with them. Plus, it's just fun playing online games with kids because they're very competitive. And I would rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 10.
The Tenacity event I enjoyed the most was the Spring Fling. It was amazing to come together with all the middle school sites and to see our students perform, hearing the poetry, the singing, and seeing the art and having people being brave and sharing those talents with us was really, really sweet. Also, seeing how the kids supported each other made me feel really good, just to see that even that with people who went to another school they didn't really know, saying that was an awesome job, really, really nice, super impressive. Was fun and exciting.
The Tenacity event I enjoyed the most by far was the Spring Fling / talent show. It's tough to say. Just the artwork and the performances by the students were absolutely amazing. It really took me back. So that was just a great day.
I loved the Spring Fling. That was definitely my favorite Tenacity event. I loved seeing all of the sites together and work together, and I loved seeing all of the talent that we have here at Tenacity.
The event I enjoyed the most was the Roblox field trip. It was super fun getting to play games with some of the students, and it ended up being a cross-site field trip as well. So that is a solid 10 out of 10, and I just love Roblox, so that's another reason why I loved it so much.
The advice that I would give to our students is take it one day at a time, one step at a time. You are very capable human beings, and if you need to take a step back, if you're overwhelmed, just do it. Take care of yourself. Yes.
A piece of advice that I have for future students is believe in yourself. You can do it even if it is hard, and just really push through all of those tough moments.
Some advice I'd give to students is to believe in yourself and find things you're really passionate about, find people that you really care about, and put your energy into things that make you feel good.
One piece of advice I would give to students is to spend a lot of time outside this summer. A lot of us have been kind of trapped at home because of the pandemic, so with all this free time this summer, don't be stuck at home.
The advice that I would give students, I guess, is that, it could be better, but it also could be worse, and that has helped me out a lot in my life. The advice I'd give to future Americorp fellows is just that the time flies by. It's gone by so quickly, and I'm already already missing them, and I'm not even gone yet. So just try to enjoy it and slow down a little bit if you can.
My advice for future AmeriCorps fellows would be, remember you're working with kids. There's going to be some good days, there's going to be some bad days, hopefully more good than bad, but they're still kids, and you have to remember that and see things from that perspective when dealing with days that they might not want to participate that much, or they might feel like they just hate you. They're just kids, and kids are going through a lot at that age. So just don't ever take it personally, and be prepared for some possible bad days.
Some advice I'd give to incoming AmeriCorps members are to keep an open mind and try to go into each day without too many expectations, and go with the flow and make it a really good experience.
One piece of advice for future fellows, I would say plan ahead and ask students what elective ideas they would be interested in. They'll be engaged and love it no matter what, but having something that personally means a lot to the students will get them just on that higher level of engagement, and they'll get a lot more out of it too because they're very interested.
For future fellows, I want you to enjoy the moments with the kids. Write down all the funny moments, the sad moments, the hard moments, everything, because you're not going to want to miss or forget them. And remember to take all of the small wins, no matter how hard it is to see them in the moment.
About it when I see you again, when I see you again.
Something that I've learned from a student this past year, I guess I would say our students overall. I keep hearing how they love Tenacity. It's a safe space. It makes them happy. It pushes them, but they still appreciate it. And it gives them, a place to be themselves. And I think through that I learned that kids really rely on programs like this and adults like this in their lives. And even when it seems like they don't want to run that lap or they don't want to do that presentation, it's still important for them, and they understand more than we think about the importance.
One thing I learned from multiple students this past year while serving was that Crocs are back in style. They come with a built-in sports mode as well, which is incredible. But yeah, I'm just really glad to hear that the style from when I was in middle school is back in the middle schools.
It's hard to think of like a specific thing I learned from the students because I did learn so much, but I would say one thing I learned is just to not be so hard on myself. They've just taught me a lot, and that's one of them.
Working with the students has taught me so much, but specifically, it's taught me that they know when a person cares about them. They want the staff to care about them, but they also want their space too. So it's also taught me to take a step back, and that's okay too. I also learned that just be yourself, because the kids want to know the real you. They don't want to know the fake you that you're pretending to be. Don't try too hard.
We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.